Good evening, and welcome to the latest happenings inside our federal machine.
Diving into the federal machine, and this video dives into the latest info we have on the would-be assassin of President Trump, the individual known as Thomas Crooks. I have an assortment of videos and content for you that gets into the details that have surfaced over the last year or so, including a couple of clips from the Tucker Carlson's latest documentary. And that will be linked in the description below, by the way, the documentary. And it's free to watch over on X. And I'll play a couple of clips of that documentary, but not in its entirety for obvious reasons, because I'm sure in some way, shape, or form it's copyrighted. It just came out yesterday, so it's brand new. And there's a lot of conversations that have been ongoing, really going all the way back to Trump's assassination attempt back on July 13th of 2024. And also, notably, FBI Director Kash Patel's his post that came out yesterday with him detailing everything that the FBI knows and everything the FBI is prepared to release at this time to the public, which I'm sure was the FBI's way of getting ahead of Tucker Carlson's video documentary that he released, I believe, exclusively on X. It's definitely viewable for free on X, which again, it's in the description below if you want to watch it in its entirety. It's definitely a banger. It's already garnered millions of views, I think in less than 24 hours still, as of this recording. So I'm going to start with what I read yesterday from FBI Director Kash Patel, and this, I think, is going to be a good start of this video. So we will see exactly what the FBI is telling us, what the federal government stance is on the would-be Trump assassin, Thomas Crooks. And I will go from there, and then we'll get into some of the details that other people have been circulating around over the internet, the discussions people have been having with one another, famous and non-famous alike, just the general conversation as to who is this guy, where did he come from, who is he connected to, and all those important details. So the statement from the FBI reads as follows. Crooks case overview. Over 480 FBI employees were involved in the Thomas Crooks investigation. Employees conducted over 1,000 interviews, addressed over 2,000 public tips, analyzed data extracted from 13 seized digital devices, reviewed nearly 500,000 digital files, collected, processed, and synchronized hundreds of hours of video footage, analyzed financial activity from 10 different accounts, and examined data associated with 25 social media or online forum accounts. So remember that last part, 25 social media or online forum accounts. We'll get back to that here in a second. The FBI's investigation into Thomas Crooks identified and examined over 20 online accounts. That's another important data point. Data extracted from over a dozen electronic devices, examination of numerous financial accounts, and over 1,000 interviews and 2,000 public tips. The investigation conducted by over 480 FBI employees revealed Crooks had limited online and in-person interactions. Yeah, but he had he was at least linked to 25 different social media accounts. Okay, but also limited in-person interactions. He also planned and conducted the attack alone and did not leak or share his intent to engage in the attack with anyone. Look, the final point, very well possible. Maybe he kept it to himself. Probably not, but maybe he did. Who knows? But as far as him having limited online interactions, I believe he was in college at the time, wasn't he? Having to do with something with computers or like computer science or something. So, I mean, for him to not have any social media presence, especially in this day and age, I mean, I think everybody's going to find that very hard to believe, especially when the FBI had discovered him interacting with 25 different social media or online forum accounts. I mean, come on, man, that's kind of contradictory. So let me read a couple of these comments here of people who replied to this statement. This is quite interesting from RI, and the account is RI7164S. And they set up some interesting questions. Can you provide answers to the following questions with which Grok compiled that are still unknown by the public? So apparently these questions were put together by the AI bot Grok, which is available on the X platform. And the first one is, why was Thomas Crooks' body cremated just 10 days after the shooting without notifying the coroner or local authorities, preventing further independent examination? That's a very valid question. It's That actually just kind of reminds me of what they did with Osama bin Laden's body. Remember how they took him out, and then, like, what, 24 or 48 hours later, they were dumping him out into the ocean, allegedly. Like, why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense that you've got the body of someone that you put a multi-million-dollar bounty on, that people have been hunting down for years and years. Not that that's exactly what was happening with Thomas Crooks, but that's arguably the biggest piece of evidence you have. The shooter himself, dead right there, but you're going to torch his body just 10 days after. That just doesn't really seem to make sense to a lot of people. Anyway, next one. Why was the crime scene, including the roof where Crooks fired from, reportedly washed down or cleaned shortly after the incident, potentially destroying evidence? Yes, they did do that. Why was the exact motive behind Crooks' actions, given the lack of a manifesto, written explanation, or clear political ideology despite his mixed affiliations? Why did Crooks have virtually no online footprint or social media presence, and was any evidence of it deliberately erased or hidden? Where were the details of 3 encrypted overseas accounts Crooks had in Belgium, Germany, and New Zealand, and who was he communicating with through them? Who were the 27 contacts on Crooks' secondary phone found at home, and what connections did the FBI uncover from tracking them? Why did mobile data show 9 devices linked to Crooks' home and work, with one frequently visiting a location near an FBI office in D.C.? And what does this suggest about possible accomplices? I would seem to assume quite a lot, potentially. How did Crooks manage to scout the rally site days in advance, including using a rangefinder hours before the event without being detained, despite being flagged as suspicious multiple times? Yeah, he was flagged as suspicious, like, what, 3-4 hours before the shooting even took place. He was on the grounds for that entirety, wasn't he? I don't think he left the grounds at all. He was on the grounds with the rangefinder, scoping out the area, walking around all over the place, climbing up on the roof, and he had no accomplices. Nobody had any information on him in any way, shape, or... Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, next one. What explosives were found in Crooks' car? How were they constructed, and why was he carrying them to the rally? Oh, shit. Sorry, got muted. All right, what is the full explanation for Crooks' appearance in a BlackRock video as a teenager, and were there any deeper ties to the organization? Which we'll get to that in a few minutes. I've got that commercial. Why were law enforcement reports of Crooks on the roof, including photos taken up to 30 minutes before the shooting, not acted upon to remove Trump from the stage? What anti-immigrant or anti-Semitic content did Crooks allegedly post online as a teenager, and why has the FBI not released more details or evidence of this? Yeah, for them to say that he had limited to no online presence on social media, going all the way back to what, his early childhood, so when he was in his preteen years, or maybe his mid-teenage years, he never got on any social media at all. Never did. Yeah, okay. Why has there been no formal public report or press conference detailing the full findings, despite the FBI's claim of an exhaustive investigation? And finally, were there any foreign connections or influences involved, and what evidence rules this out conclusively? All very valid questions, very good questions. Not sure if or when FBI Director Kash Patel is going to be hauled in front of Congress to answer questions with regard to this assassination attempt. If I were a sitting member of Congress who's on that committee, I would definitely take a few of those questions with me, and that's for damn sure. So from Tara, November 14th, where's the arrest? Pam, I've reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially the same old story as last time. All talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done, so on and so forth. All right, so anyway, here's another one from Beef Booger. I believe this case is linked to many other cases involving the president. We aren't going to find out much of anything right now because it would jeopardize ongoing investigations. This is much bigger than we know. Donald J. Trump has an invested interest in this case. Well, yeah, man, the guy literally shot him in the head. If he's not screaming about inaction, then I'm going to remain patient and let things play out. I think he raises a really valid point. I think that if this Thomas Crooks situation or this investigation was completely standalone and Trump fully knows it, I think he would be demanding answers more aggressively than he is right now. He's not really mentioning much of it at all, really. And that is very well could be the case because there may be a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. Like all of these conspiracies and all of these scandals and all of this bullshit that we've been dealing with over the last 10 years, especially coming from the Democrat side, It all could be interconnected, man. And they might be trying to put the puzzle pieces together as we speak. I mean, a lot of the information could have been in those burn bags that the FBI discovered that Comey had hidden. Who knows? All right, Lucky Burglar, I'll just do a couple more. Your post is confusing and misleading. If Crooks had over 20 online accounts, then how could he possibly have limited online interactions? And let's see. Thank you, FBI Director Cash. No matter what you release, people with bad intentions will never see it as enough. All right, so anyway, so that's the latest. And that's the official statement from the FBI with regard to Thomas Crooks and where they're at with that. He doesn't say that they've closed the investigation. I mean, he's not saying that it's over. He's just saying at this point, this is what we have, what we're willing to release, and that's what they're going to leave us with for now. All right, so moving on to Gina Milan. I believe most of these, if not all of these, were just posted within the last day. November 14th today, as of this recording, is November 15th, about 8 o'clock in the evening on Saturday. So she says, I'll usually give the FBI the benefit of the doubt, but expecting us to believe Thomas Crooks acted alone is insulting. Why was he at the same gun range regularly used by DHS and the FBI months before the Butler shooting? Make it make sense. Didn't he go to high school in Butler, Pennsylvania? I think Thomas Crooks. I could be wrong on that, but I thought maybe he was from there, or I think I might have read that. And perhaps maybe it just happened to be just the nearest range from where he lived at the time geographically. It could be that simple, or maybe not. Maybe it isn't that simple. Maybe he was, in having some like ongoing CIA, MK Ultra type shit going on, and maybe that's why he was in the area and he was using the same range. Who knows? But maybe we'll find out. Maybe we're gonna find out in this video. So this is a clip from Fox News that she linked, and we'll just take a quick look at this.
A word about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Thankfully, Congress is churning out new information to help the American people understand what happened. Records obtained by Senator Chuck Grassley show Thomas Crooks' intense preparation in the months leading up to his assassination attempt. Turns out that Crooks first joined the Clairton Gun Club in August of last year, just a year ago, and then visited the range 43 times.
Damn.
Crooks even spent holidays at the shooting range, including Christmas, Valentine's Day, Halloween.
Why would they open on Christmas?
And his parents didn't think this was strange. In 2024, he went to the range
Maybe he
for
didn't tell me he was going
practice
there.
3 to 6 times a month, almost exclusively training with rifles, not handguns, and made one final visit the day before shooting Trump.
Well, look, I think the answer to this is kind of obvious, Jesse Waters. Dude was training to kill Trump. That's the reason that he was going there over and over again.
The shooting range was crawling with feds. Multiple local and federal law enforcement agencies trained at this facility.
Now that's interesting.
Including the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees Secret Service. Crooks was training under federal law enforcement's nose. We're now seeing just how close they got to each other. Just 2 months before trying to kill Trump, Crooks was at the range within 24 hours of a Homeland Security Office training session.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, might chalk that up to just coincidence, but still, again, it could just be a geographical thing. Maybe he just lived near the area. But still, for him to go there that often, I think it's quite clear why he was going there that often. He was trying to, trying to improve his accuracy over time. So this comes from Kyle Becker. Thomas Crooks was skilled with computers, but had no social media presence. Oh yeah, and this computer nerd could storm a police-secured rooftop like a ninja and line up the perfect shot like a Delta Force sniper. Okie dokie. Fair point.
I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis and 6'4". I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis.
All right, whatever. So apparently he went to Stanford University. Okay, so conservative AF breaking new footage shows would-be Trump assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks practicing dry-fire handgun drill. So this was back on September 26th when it was posted. Not sure when the video was discovered or released, but it comes from the Post-Millennial. So we'll give this a quick look. Doesn't appear to have any sound. Not sure why they're blurring it out. It's just a handgun. Okay, so there's that. And move on to Dawn of Defiance BlackRock commercial with Thomas Crooks. This was posted yesterday. This wasn't originally released yesterday. This has been circulating around the internet for over a year at this point. So let's take a look at this.
My name is Brian
BlackRock.
Galalo. I teach AP and honors economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Did you see Thomas Crooks there?
Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do.
He'll show him again.
I hope when I retire someday, they say, you know, that guy made this place a special place to come to school. And
there he is
as
again.
much as he could to help.
Oh, they showed a close-up that time. Oh my God, BlackRock, how dare you? I don't know, is it all just a big coincidence? Could be, maybe it couldn't be. Yes, no, maybe so. All right, Miranda Devine. Eric Trump is pissed off and wholly unsatisfied with the investigation into Thomas Crooks, the 20-year-old would-be assassin of his father. He told me on Podforce 1. He went on to defend his friend FBI Director Kash Patel and speculate it may be a national security issue. It
Are
could be.
you satisfied with the answers that we've got from the Butler
No.
assassination attempt?
No.
Thomas Crooks, 20 years
No.
old. Why do we know nothing?
We know nothing.
Yeah, why?
In fact, I'm not only am I unsatisfied, I'm wholly pissed off about it. And
Yeah.
I remain unpissed off. I remain pissed off about it.
I'm sure the president
we know
is too.
We see a picture of a kid who looks like he's
Mm.
14 years old.
Yeah.
And we've seen no other pictures of him. We don't know who he is. We know he has multiple cell phones. Trying to figure out what 20-year-old has multiple cell phones.
No shit.
The kid was cremated in like 5 days or 6 days. Like, give me a break. Like most family pets
No autopsy.
take longer to be cremated. I am very far away from being a conspiracy theorist, but nothing about it looks right. We know
Yeah, but look, man, all this shit happened under the Biden administration. So, of course, they're trying everything they can to just destroy everything. And maybe they did. They may have destroyed anything and everything having to do with this dude's life. They may have scrubbed everything from the internet. They may have had some like FISA court ordered subpoenas or warrants, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, for them to go out to Facebook and all the social media companies to have everything completely scrubbed off of their servers. That's very possible. The FBI was under the Biden administration's direction at the time.
know nothing about this guy. Yet they decided to go in and deprive every single January 6th grandmother who walked through the Capitol, right, and took a selfie.
The Democrats,
They know
Biden
everything
administration.
about them. They got into their phones. They violated their rights. They found everything that they could. They put real effort into it, and we don't know a damn thing. And I am wholly unsatisfied.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. But again, look who was running the show at the time. It was a bunch of Democrats who were running the show at the time. So that's of no surprise to me. Even if we do find out that shit was scrubbed from servers and things were burned and destroyed, I mean, we already know that Thomas Crooks was burned up pretty quickly after that happened. So this comes from Benny Johnson. The reason we fight so hard for the truth on things like Thomas Crooks or the January 6th pipe bombers, because these kinds of cover-ups lead to the collapse of a country. Here's how. Institutions built to serve the public get taken over by people who think they answer to no one. They think they are gods and answer to no one. When those in power hide facts, silence critics, or destroy inconvenient evidence, the public stops trusting anything they say. Without trust in the system, people retreat into isolation, and the ties that hold a nation together weaken. Manipulated crises and political targeting become the norm. Lies, staged events, and selective enforcement are all used to justify more control. Mass immigration and social division make the country unstable, and then it collapses. A lot of that sounds quite familiar these days. That's why we dig, push, and refuse to let these stories go. A country can survive challenges. It can't survive a government that lies to its own people. So we'll watch this from Benny Johnson.
Why do we
Take a look at this.
go off on this kind of stuff? Go off on this kind of stuff because it's how we lose the country, dude. I'll just say it. I'll just roll it up I'll roll it up like this. I'm no doomer. I like a white pill, you know. I don't like dooming on the audience, black pilling the audience. I'm saying this kind of stuff because it actually is endemic to the collapse of a country. The ways a country collapses goes like this. The institutions built by good and decent and honorable men that are created in order for the public trust to do one thing, which is to serve the people of the nation. That's the sole and only purpose of your government. Those institutions slowly get eroded. People stop believing in them. Those institutions, which are properly formed, the architecture of which point up, obviously, in our country to a God and a higher power, the people who overtake those institutions start believing they're God. They start acting like gods. They believe that they're in charge of truth, that they answer to no one.
Yeah, the bureaucracy.
They don't answer to a higher power. They don't answer to us, the American people.
Good times create weak men.
They believe they can do whatever they want. John Kennedy, he becomes inconvenient, murder him. Trump, he's running, he's a threat to our power, murder him. January 6th, stage a riot, plant fake bombs.
Well, yeah, they had to do that because they had to, because on social media, or not on social media, on the mainstream news, the conservatives kept pointing to hundreds of instances of leftist rioting, those who align themselves with the Democratic Party, sowing the seeds of chaos across the country day in and day out, especially all throughout 2020. But they couldn't point to a single instance where conservatives were doing the same thing. Not to mention that the leftists were toppling statues, graffitiing shit, smashing windows, invading college campuses. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But as far as conservatives, they don't do that. They don't engage in that bullshit. So they had to stage January 6th in order to carry out that narrative.
Lock everyone up. Deny the National Guard. We need a terrorist event. Well, the right's not violent, but we need a terrorist event. Okay, we'll make one up.
Absolutely.
With Gretchen Whitmer. We'll create the conditions for terrorist events throughout the country for my entire life, which they've done, by the way. And they've never apologized for it.
Oh, no, they never
We'll
will.
lie to the American people about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And we'll constantly and further erode the faith of these institutions by raiding President Trump's house at Mar-a-Lago and allowing, even after Thomas Crooks takes potshots at the president, another deranged lunatic that was clearly under the control of the CIA and foreign governments based on his neurotic obsession with Ukraine and his travel to Ukraine and his usage of Ukraine warfighting methods.
Well, speaking of the CIA, isn't it what they do whenever they wrap up a mission or an operation? Don't they just destroy all the evidence? They just burn everything up as if nothing ever happened in the first place.
We'll let this guy also try and kill Trump.
Like they don't archive anything.
Those kind of evil people that think like that, they take over the government institutions. Those institutions get corrupted so much that no one can believe anything that's coming out of them.
Well, no, I'm of a firm belief that the CIA should have been absolutely dismantled decades ago. It is absolutely appalling that they allowed that institution to be created with virtually, if not absolutely, no oversight or any accountability whatsoever. They could do literally anything they want and hide under the cover of anonymity and have tens, if not close to $100 billion a year at their disposal to carry out really anything that they want to do. And they don't really seem to answer for anybody. They've got their civilian leaders and they've got, you know, those who answer to other higher ups. But I mean, even the higher ups don't know what the fuck they're doing behind closed doors. All they could do is just hide behind that word. Oh, it's classified. Oh, it's top secret. You know, it's a need to know. And yeah, man, like the CIA should have been gone so many years. It should have never even gotten its start in the first place, to be honest.
All trust.
I'm sure they had good intentions.
Trust in the things that bind us together. If we lose trust in our government, what else is left to bind us together? Well, a common heritage, a common religion. Well, we don't have that anymore in this country.
Well, yeah, they're trying to erode all that
as well.
For sure.
It is the practice of atomization. Diversity is our strength. Bullshit.
Nope, it ain't. National identity.
No, strength is our strength. Diversity is not your strength.
Absolutely.
Diversity is not your strength in your marriage. It's not your strength if you take an Uber somewhere and the guy doesn't speak English.
Yeah, identity politics.
It's not your strength with Mohammed as your DoorDash driver. No, it's not. They atomize everything. They're like grinding it all into the ground, and then you have nothing left in common with your fellow man in your country. You don't trust your government. You don't believe the elections are real. You don't believe any of the numbers are real. You don't believe any of the data is real, and you isolate and then you atomize. You can create the environment for a civil war, which is, of course, what they were trying to do by killing Trump. You create the environment for sectarian violence.
They're not done.
For full and complete and total state control. You come in and then you seize, you undergird all of those things. You create the circumstances for mass government, for mass totalitarian control. It's happened before in history. It's happening here right now. And of course, the final leg that they kick out is open immigration. Flood the country with third world masses that come in and change the culture forever
Yeah, I mean, look, that's definitely a strong element of it. However, the vast majority of the illegal immigrants coming into the country, they're Roman Catholic, they're Christian conservatives, even though they're probably not going to politically align that way because a lot of Latin America, they tend to vote fairly left, if not full on left. I think one of the final things that they're kicking out from under us is pitting women against men. I think they've been working on that for over 10 years with the fucking Me Too movement and Believe All Women. And just trying to condition women into hating everything that there is to hate about a man, despite men absolutely building everything that we have around us, maintaining everything that we have. Like, men built the first world, and we did it for women. We did it for our wives. We did it for our daughters. We did it for the women around us. To be chivalrous, even, and for that to happen, for them to just try to make enemies out of men through the eyes of women, I think that is really what is really eroding our country in the worst ways from within.
That
Just
no
my
one
opinion.
trusts, that behave criminally, that agitate, and that then oppress, eventually rise up and oppress the natives and heritage members of that nation who had gotten fat, happy, lazy, slovenly, and had lost all trust in the institutions anyway. That's how you topple a good and well-founded nation. It's happened in Rome. It's happened in Greece. It's happened in micronations all throughout, and micro-empires all throughout human history, and it's happening here right now. And so I spend all day on this and obsess over this in Butler because it is a marquee moment for the federal government to say, you can trust us. We believe that you can handle it. You're big boys.
Yeah, right.
Same thing with
Hell
Epstein.
no.
Oh, no, honestly, same thing with Epstein. It's the same thing.
All you got to do is look at the hearing when they dragged the head of the Secret Service, what's her name, hauled her in before Congress, and they were drilling her, and that just, like, there is no way that the Secret Service handled that in any professional way at all. The only thing that I took away from that was that the Secret Service was in on it, that they were all in on it, that they were all trying to get Trump killed. That's absolutely, I think, what they were trying to do, which made the American people trust the government even less after having that hearing.
We believe that you can handle it. So we're going to give you all of the information. You may not like it. You may hurt your feelings. But yes, Thomas Crooks was being groomed and mind controlled by these dark and mysterious entities from either abroad or domestically. And yes, it was being funded by USAID the whole time.
Oh, probably.
Or whatever.
Probably.
Yes, we did know Matthew Thomas Crooks ahead of time. We did nothing to stop it. The agents involved are now under federal investigation. This goes way deeper than you know. Here's all the available evidence. That's how you actually restore trust. You can't restore trust any other way.
Well, you got to imprison people.
Openness. That's how you restore trust in a relationship.
I don't care if it's 1,000 people. You got to imprison all of them who were involved.
You have absolute and total candor. You don't lie to them. And most importantly, you don't continue lies. Right? As you gain trust with people, you want to establish a perfect and clean slate where you're being totally forthright. They can trust you and you can trust them. That's what we're calling for here. And that's why we obsess over these kind of stories.
Well, dude, the lack of trust in government is nothing new. Going back to, as you mentioned, the Kennedy assassination, I'm sure going way back before then, like there's always been a strong degree of distrust in our government, and rightfully so. And as time goes on, they're giving us less and less reasons to trust them. Even now, even like with that statement from Kash Patel at the very beginning, I mean, it's not exactly what the American people are looking for. I mean, we're looking for like actual evidence, and give us a decent or give us some reason if Thomas Crooks is connected to a bunch of other things that are behind closed doors that they're not ready to bring to light yet because they're investigating a whole bunch of the things that could be tied in with it. Well, then just tell us that. Just let us know. All right, so let's move on to the next thing from Jay Stewart. Trump shooter cover-up, Crooks body cremated, phones vanish, FBI silent. What are they hiding? What happened to the Thomas Crooks investigation? Over a year later, in 2025, big questions remain unanswered. Mobile data from the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project linked 9 devices to Crooks' home and work. One device often visited his Pennsylvania home and a D.C. spot near an FBI office. This raises doubts. Was he really acting alone? Former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, that's her name, passed all questions about possible accomplices to the FBI during hearings. The FBI says Crooks may have posted anti-immigrant and anti-Semitic content on social media as a teen in 2019 and 20. But Gab's CEO claims an FBI-requested account, which is iEpic Microwave, was pro-Biden and pro-immigration back in 2021. Crooks had 2 phones, one found at the scene with a detonator for car explosives and another at home with just 27 contacts. The FBI is still tracking those people. So he had the know-how to build an explosive device and be able to remote detonate it from his phone. And the FBI, they're trying to tell us that he did all that alone. Like that, he had no help in that in any way, shape, or form. He self-taught everything. Are they prepared to give us, I mean, maybe not direct links on websites on exactly how to do it, but are they ready to give us, at least point us in some direction as to how he was able to self-teach himself all that? I don't know. Rep. Michael Walls revealed Crooks had 3 encrypted accounts overseas in Belgium, Germany, and New Zealand. Who was he talking to? His laptop showed searches for Trump, Biden, the DNC convention, and the July 13 rally. Then the body disappeared fast. Rep. Clay Higgins' report says the FBI let Crooks' family cremate him just 10 days after the shooting without telling the coroner or locals. By August of 2024, when Higgins tried to check, it was too late. Autopsy reports were delayed, and without the body, full verification is impossible. Joe Rogan and Elon Musk on a recent JRE episode discussed all the incredibly strange things surrounding this case. The house scrubbed clean with no silverware or trace, 0 internet footprint, like it was erased. A 20-year-old with a rangefinder spotted for minutes before firing. CNN streaming a nowhere rally live. Secret Service calling the roof too sloped, while snipers sat on steeper ones. A phone pinging from D.C. near FBI HQ to his home multiple times. 5 phones total. No formal report. No press conferences. BlackRock ties. The body cremated fast. Rogan, quote, "This doesn't add up." Musk says, "Too many coincidences. We need answers, and Trump should be demanding them." I mean, like that comment that was mentioned earlier, perhaps there's multiple investigations that are tying all this together, and it could just be that simple, and Trump may be very well aware of that, and that might be why he's not sounding the megaphone right now as to why they keep dragging their feet with regard to this investigation. So I definitely agree with that, if Trump is sounding, if Trump is sounding the alarm and he's like, what the fuck's going on? Why is this not getting done? They shot me in the head for crying out loud. Then, then they're probably dragging their feet, and we're probably not going to really know what exactly went on with this, and we're probably not going to get any real answers, not in the long run. But anyway, let's watch this Joe Rogan and Elon Musk interview. So I'm going to try. There we go. All right, let's go.
The question is, if you're going to have an assassination attempt on the president, it's not like BlackRock's board sits down and votes on it.
Yeah.
No, there's probably,
no.
right?
That would be awkward. The board minutes would be like, guys, remember that time when we said,
yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money, though.
Shouldn't have done that.
I highly doubt it would be a corporation that chooses to do something like this. I think more likely it's individuals involved that recognize that it's beneficial to them if he gets assassinated. And so a small group of people carry something out. And with this kid, we don't know anything, right? And everyone's asking questions, and there was never a formal report. There was never press conferences where they detailed all the information that we know currently and where the investigation stands at the moment. What we know is you have a very young kid who was filmed. They knew he was there with a rangefinder a half an hour before the event.
Well, and the same goes with Charlie Kirk's shooter. He wasn't killed, so they got him in custody, and the only thing we're hearing is, oh, well, he's just not talking. Do you really believe that? I don't actually really believe that. I bet he sang like a canary. I bet he was talking to him, and the feds, they just don't want to release anything to the public, especially with it being politically motivated. I think there's a lot of fishy things with that, too. Of course, that's for another video.
Also know that CNN streamed it live, which I do not believe they did for any other rally.
Yeah, it really makes you think,
and certainly not for a rally that's in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania.
Because they wanted us to see it happen.
There's a lot of weird shit. The fact that they wouldn't let people be on that roof because the Secret Service lady said it was sloped.
Yeah,
and it was dangerous. That's what she'd want to have. Meanwhile, the snipers that were on the other roof,
I couldn't believe she said that.
A steeper pitch. It made no fucking sense.
I totally agree. It makes
Crazy.
no sense. In fact, I went back to Butler with President Trump. Before the election, sort of like the Return to Butler rally.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
I remember
I was
that.
on that stage, and I'm looking at that roof.
I think that was the one where he was jumping up and down on stage.
If I was a sniper, my pole position, my number one spot would be
the tower,
that roof.
right? Well, yeah, on the roof, but
it's like the.
But it's ridiculous how close it was, though. And that's the most appalling thing about it. He was like, what, 100 yards away or 100, maybe not even that far away. He was incredibly close, taking position. Even people in the back of the crowd were screaming at officers saying, there's a man on the roof. He's got a gun. We're watching him. Oh, he's racking his rifle. He's starting to aim. Like, people were shouting at officers. And there were a few officers that were scrambling in maybe the minute or seconds before he started firing. But even the crowd was aware that the dude was there, and not a single Secret Service agent was going to run up and get Trump off the stage. Are you fucking kidding me? It's absolutely ridiculous.
The best seat in the House.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not?
No, it's so obvious.
It's the best seat in the House.
And
like, if you want to be a sniper, there isn't a better position.
It was pretty obvious that the idea was, like, if we're saying that this is a coordinated assassination attempt, and it very well could have been, that's what you would do. You'd have someone go up there, he shoots the president, you shoot him. You got Lee Harvey Oswald all over again.
Dude ain't talking.
It's all wrapped up.
Yeah, it's
nice
all
and
wrapped
clean.
up. It's all over.
They assassinated him. We never heard a peep about it. We don't have any idea. They would concoct some sort of story. He was radicalized by this or that, or
so the seeds of conspiracy theory.
Who knows?
Right.
And now you have a completely different presidential election. You have a murder on live television.
Yeah, I mean, something would have had to happen to radicalize that kid. Because he knew he was going to die. Like, he was going to, they're going to shoot him, or he'd be in prison for life.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
Are the two outcomes. Like,
he knew they were going to kill him.
He was a suicide assassin.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think
without any doubt,
alive or he's not escaping. There's no escape plan.
Right. Unless he was told that they were going to let him escape, and the goal was to just shoot him anyway, and to tell him.
But they were still going to shoot him.
Motivation to do it. We're going to let you get up there. We're going to let you take the shot, and then you're going to disappear.
Like, but he fired like 3, 4, 5 times, though.
How he got on the roof.
Because he missed the first shot.
He
didn't miss.
That.
He was just
a
little
off.
off.
That doesn't make any sense. And it wasn't like it was a roof that's so high no one could see him. People saw him up there.
I mean, people, like, basically, random passersby were pointing out that there's a guy on the roof.
With a fucking...
But, something I struggle with was that the dude was he was a 20-year-old, basically still a kid. And if they really wanted to make sure that Trump was taken out, they really couldn't have found someone who may have had a little bit of military training, maybe someone who was like 24, 25 years old. I mean, either way, they were trying to put a human being on the roof to take a shot at President Trump. So why did it have to be some 20-year-old who had to go to the range like 40, 50, 60 times to learn how to shoot? If he was trained for this by who knows who, the CIA or what have you, why couldn't they have just done like some Jason Bourne type shit where they found some guy in like his mid-20s who already had like sharpshooter training or something like that? That's kind of bothered me. Like why would they have plucked this dude up? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Gun.
With a gun, yes.
Yeah, it's not like he was so far away you couldn't tell he had a gun. People saw him.
Yeah.
The whole thing's completely insane.
Yeah.
And you don't hear a goddamn thing about it. It's like I'm almost more interested in that. No, I am more interested in that than I am the JFK files.
I agree.
Because I feel like with the JFK files, it's so long ago.
Yeah, it's
everyone's
water under
dead.
the bridge.
Who's going to know?
Right.
If you could prove now, and did you see that there was some sort of, there was some indications that there was a phone that had been traveling from outside the FBI offices in D.C. to
I saw that.
where this kid lived.
Right.
Multiple times.
I mean, the cell phone records would be very telling.
Yeah.
Because you can see what cell phones were close to other cell phones.
Well, I think they got
I
it
found
from...
that like for the Epstein Island, they also the cell phone records were leaked, so you can see them. You can see it's precise enough. You can see people walking down a path on Epstein Island.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's how precise it is. So, I mean, you're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs wherever you go with your cell phone.
Yeah. It's just this kid had 5 phones. That's the other thing.
That's a lot of phones.
It's a lot of phones for a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, Elon, do you have 5 phones? Joe, do you have 5 phones?
That's kind of expensive,
Yeah. Where's he getting the money?
Yeah.
Well, Also,
Yeah,
it's
20-year-old.
like, how did his house get professionally scrubbed? Didn't even have any silverware in his house. There's nothing in there.
The silverware?
No.
Nothing. No cutlery.
No cutlery.
That's weird.
His house was scrubbed.
And
No-
they
no
also
hard
cremated
drives.
his body like
Oh, gone.
gone.
Like that. Yeah. Bye. Because who knows what the fuck they gave him to get him to think that he's going to be able to shoot Trump. Like,
Yeah,
climb up
fair
on there,
point.
shoot him. Like, I mean,
Maybe.
who knows what kind of psychotropic drugs you can put someone on and under the power of hypnosis and suggestion, and
Yeah.
who fucking knows? I mean, this is what MK Ultra was all about. This is what Jolly West was practicing in the 1960s. They were doing that back then. They did it. I mean, there was tons and tons of experiments using psychotropic drugs, hypnosis, mind control, all sorts of different methods of manipulation. The Harvard LSD studies that made Ted Kaczynski. I mean, that's they've been doing that forever.
Yeah.
Where's that file? Where's the fucking file on that kid? Whoever, they almost did
Something
it.
doesn't add up. Like, they should have those phones should be. They'll tell you what's going on.
Well, yeah,
Um,
obviously.
It's all fucked.
Yeah,
I mean, and
it's very shady.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously there's the second guy that almost succeeded in coming.
The
Trump.
Yeah, I
course,
remember that.
The golf
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was just
Up
like
in
a
that
little
little-
careless
that
and stuck his
nest up
gun
in the
barrel
tree.
out the hedge, you know. Which has been.
I think there's been two guys who have done that at this point, right?
Out the hedge, you know?
They found another guy who had a sniper's
Yeah.
nest up in on the golf course.
So, and there've been other people that have been intercepted on their way to kill Trump. You know,
Yeah.
So there's, multiple assassins inbound. At this point, he's got like an army protecting him.
Well, this is also part of the problem with the mainstream media saying that he's Hitler. When Joy
Uh-huh.
Reid
Yes,
had that
exactly.
show before the election, she
100%.
was comparing him to Mussolini, showed Stalin and Hitler.
Yeah,
So she pulled it all out.
They're literally saying that like Trump is worse than Hitler, Mussolini, and
it's fucking
Stalin
retarded.
combined. I mean,
They tried everything.
this is
Yeah, they have.
I think those guys killed 100 million people.
I think-
So Trump has killed 0 people.
Yeah, because he's the anti-establishment. He didn't get the blessing of the establishment before he became president, and I think that's everything against what they want when it comes to control over our country through the government. I think that's exactly what it's all about. That he didn't kiss the ring, he didn't ascend up the ranks, he didn't get the blessing from the establishment in order to run for president. He just barged right in and he became president, just like that. So. All right, so I'm not sure if that video is going to get copyrighted. If it did, then here we are without the Joe Rogan video. So it was just a discussion that he had with Elon Musk. Everything that I read in this, they covered. So we're not going to get a whole lot more information in that interview than we already read in this post. So yeah, hopefully that clip is going to be in this video. Hopefully there won't be any problem with it. So, all right. So anyway, I'll move on to the next thing from Chief Nerd New. Eric Trump says he is wholly unsatisfied. Wait, did we already? I think we might have already seen that, didn't we? With the Eric Trump interview. Minute 12. Okay, so this one may have more information in it, or it may just be a different segment of the same interview. So he said he's wholly unsatisfied with what the American people know about Thomas Crooks. They've got into every phone of every January 6th protester, but they couldn't get into this guy's multiple phones. I'm wholly unsatisfied as to who this guy is, how he got there, and what the hell he was doing. And I mean, not to really snuff out any conspiracy theory out there, but I mean, maybe it just could be possibly as simple as it may have possibly been with Charlie Kirk's shooter, where he got radicalized and he just developed Trump derangement syndrome, and he got it in his head that somebody's got to do it. It might as well be me. And he acted alone. The whole 5 phones thing, maybe like 3 out of those 5 phones were like 10 years old. I mean, like, to be honest with you, dude, I've got like 4 or 5 phones in I don't think I have 5, but I know I've got at least 4. Like one of them, actually, yeah, I actually do have 5 phones. Like one of them I've had since like 2009. I don't know why I hang on to my phones. So do we know that they were all active, that he was actually using them for different uses, or did he just happen to have a dresser drawer that had 4 old phones in it and, 4 of which he just didn't use anymore? I don't know. I'm just speculating. It could just be something as simple as that he just got Trump derangement syndrome and he just had to take him out. But of course, there's still many, many questions that still persist that fly in the face of that theory, mainly like why did the Secret Service allow him to scope out the grounds for hours on end and they get up on the roof and they just allowed him to just fully set up, take the shot, the whole 9 yards. I mean, that just on its own doesn't make any sense. Like he had to have some involvement by some other actors in the government in some way, shape, or form. But anyway, here, let's take a watch at this, see if there's anything else in
I
this.
think one thing that I rally on kind of a lot was the whole Butler situation. Like I'm wholly unsatisfied with what happened there, and I'm wholly unsatisfied with what the American people know about the guy who tried to blow my father's face off. I'm a competitive shooter, shot competitively my entire life. 130-yard shot with a modern rifle, modern optics from a rooftop is a chip shot, right? Like,
ain't that hard.
Shouldn't be here. And we know nothing about this freaking kid. We see one picture of him. He's like 13 years old. He looks like a nice, innocent, prepubescent boy. We don't know a damn thing about him. He got cremated like 6 days later, right? And no, I'm wholly unsatisfied with that. And listen, my father's been like remarkably calm, and
yeah, I mean, that would have shaken up some of the strongest men out there.
He's satisfied. I think there's a lot of things that go into that statement that obviously we don't need to contend with as a general public, national security and other things. And a guy who's responsible for bringing calm to a country right after kind of a horrible incident. But no, I'm not satisfied at all. I want to know exactly who.
Not only that, but President Trump showed up to the exact same spot. He had a second rally at the same place, like not even 2 months after that happened. I mean, like balls of fucking steel.
This guy is, they got into every phone of every January 6th protester, every grandmother that walked through the Capitol and took a selfie, but they couldn't get into this guy's multiple phones.
Oh yeah.
I'm wholly unsatisfied as to who this guy was, how he got there, what the hell he was doing. And I think this country is too. I mean,
isn't it impossible for him to be acting alone?
One freaking picture? I mean, who in the day of smartphones, who in the day of one of these things has one picture of them out there? I mean, it's insane, and this country's pissed off, and as a son, I'm really pissed off.
Oh, very.
And I want to know more. So if there's one thing I disagree with him on, I do so incredibly respectfully. He's doing it for different reasons than I am, but I want to know who the hell this person is.
You also are very emotional about it. It's your father at the end of the day, too.
Yeah, and I want to know who the damn kid was, right? Like I want to know who this kid was. And it's been way too quiet about it. And again, I'm glad he's been as calm as he was, because I think there's a different scenario there where it could have gone very differently. But I think this country deserves to know who the shooter was.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I fully expected them to like immediately get to the bottom of it, release all kinds of information, almost like the day one when Trump took office again. And it's almost shocking that it has been as quiet as it has with regard to this. So another one for Benny Johnson. Rep. Tim Burchett says Trump assassin Thomas Crooks was groomed by CIA and MK Ultra style mind control programs and dark intelligence ops for the sole purpose of taking out President Trump and Butler. And they got a bunch of quotes, which I'm sure they're going to detail in the video. So we'll just play the video.
MK Ultra.
They got sued. That's right. Yep.
They got sued. They said it didn't exist. And then they got sued and they said, oh, it exists, but we don't use it anymore. So I don't believe them as far as I can throw the dome off the dadgum Capitol, Benny. You got a kid who's got access to guns or has some simple knowledge of a firearm. He was programmed. You're exactly right. They programmed this kid, and Kristi Noem and Cash and Bongino and the rest are reporting the facts as they know them. The facts have been buried or burned, or whoever knew is either sitting on a beach somewhere and enjoying a fruity drink.
Well, yeah, if it was the CIA, of course they burned everything.
I would suggest they're
I'm sure
probably
they did.
dead. And this is what happens. You claim it doesn't. They label me and you conspiracy theorists, but this is exactly what we see happen.
Of course they do.
And it happens in Washington. It's happening now. It's too deep. It is, and that's why I said I wish they could go in and just fire everybody and then just start back. But you can't do that because of security. You're going to fire some good people that are clearly have their thumb in the dike on terrorists or what have you. And that's where we're at. That's
that's
why
not good
Patel
enough.
and Bongino are having such a hard time. Kristi Noem, either way, I don't give a rip either way. But I think at their level, that's what's happened. And that's I don't care. You can call me a lunatic.
It's going to keep happening too.
But when the CIA says this thing, we don't have this thing, and then they're brought in, their asses are brought into a court of law, and they say, well, we have it, but we don't use it anymore. Apparently somebody's using it. They know to contact these people. If you look at the...
Or they don't use it anymore because they've repackaged it, they've renamed it, it's now a whole new thing, they've upgraded it. So it is the same, it has the same foundation, we just call it something different now. So that way we can legally say, and we don't have to be, held to our word when we say that it's not being used anymore, when it in fact is.
Muslim radicals and how they recruited them. You remember they had the American Taliban or whatever, that kid they caught, and nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody even remembers it. I think his parents were Americans. They went to the Greek church or something. That kid was programmed. And you're right. They watched the crime scene. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, brother. If there's a murder out here, our sheriff's department's got that thing blocked off. They got a tarp over it, and they've got it
preserve the evidence.
Cleared. Nobody can get up on it. Nobody can contaminate the crime scene. This is Knoxville.
Yeah, they just left his body wide open on the rooftop
in the city of Knoxville Police,
and they washed it all off.
My Blount County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Wrong, all those people always close off the crime scene. This is casebook. And also one other thing, I sponsored some legislation dealing with cremation, so I know a little bit about when they bring a body in. There are probably laws in that state that they violated because they cremated that kid, I think, pretty quick.
Yeah, what was it, 10 days?
You might
11 days. Yes.
Okay. And if there was an investigation going on, there's probably something in the law that says you cannot dispose of the body.
Yeah, I bet he's right too.
And I think you're
probably
right. I think all of it was washed, it was planned, and we just got lucky. I'm very close. I'm related to a Marine sniper, and I called him after that. I said, "What do you think?" He said, "Tim, I could have made that shot with iron sights, without a scope, with all that stuff. We just got damn lucky." God shined his favor upon us that day. If you don't believe that, I mean, the Bible talks about God knows if a sparrow falls from the sky or how many hairs are on your head. Dadgum, I believe it.
You are alleging that Thomas Crooks was groomed by some type of dark intel program, MK Ultra or otherwise, in order to commit on that day the act of an assassination.
I think so. I've said that all along. I've said that, and I'm glad somebody with Tucker's credibility, his ability to, and this my dog snores over there. Sorry for that. With his credibility has brought it out, because I yell this stuff all the time, and people just, it's just birching. But look at the history. Look at where we're at in this country. Look at the deep state, the sewer as it is, and
the swamp.
It's disgusting, and this is what happens, dude, when 12% of the population goes to the polls. They know we're so vulnerable, and we have very, very few people in the lineup that could do the damage to them like Trump. Trump's right.
Oh,
They're not after him. They're after us. He's just standing in the way.
Wow. Yeah, probably true on that. Absolutely. Okay, so let me jump over to, let me do this real quick. I got a question let me see. All right, so are there any laws regarding cremation of a body during an ongoing investigation in Pennsylvania? So I'll let it do its thing, and then we'll see if there's any answer to that, because he actually raises a valid question. I mean, did they break the law by cremating him within 11 days, even though there was an investigation that was ongoing? All right, so this is from Tucker Carlson Network. Tucker Carlson reveals never-before-seen footage of Donald Trump's would-be assassin, Thomas Crooks, that the FBI tried to hide from the public. Tucker says Thomas Crooks came within a quarter of an inch of destroying this country, and yet a year and a half later, we still know almost nothing about him or why he did it. That's because, for some reason, the FBI, even the current FBI, doesn't want us to know. So this is a 44-second clip from the video, and again, this is linked in the description below if you want to watch it in its entirety. It's 34 minutes in length. So let's take a look at this.
These are videos the FBI has worked hard to make sure you haven't seen. They're from the Google Drive account of Thomas Crooks, the man who on July 13th, 2024, showed up at the Butler County, Pennsylvania fairgrounds and tried to assassinate the frontrunner, Donald Trump.
Take a look at what happened.
That day, Thomas Crooks came within a quarter inch of destroying this country. And yet, a year and a half later, we still know almost nothing about him or why he did it. That's because, for some reason, the FBI, even the current FBI, doesn't want us to know.
Yeah, makes you wonder. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so let's see if it came up with anything. Yes, Pennsylvania law 16 PS section 1231 requires coroner authorization for cremation, especially for suspicious or unexplained deaths. During an ongoing investigation, the coroner assumes jurisdiction over the body and can prohibit cremation or other disposition until the cause and manner of death are determined to preserve evidence. Cremation is otherwise allowed after 24 hours. All right. So, yeah, I guess the coroner had to sign off on it, which I'm assuming he probably did. Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. Guess maybe that might just be another thing we may never get the answer to. So, all right, so we'll move on to MJ Truth Ultra. Reminder, it was reported that Thomas Crooks' 700-plus social media posts may have been posted by his father or another family member. When you add it all up, what does it tell you? Crooks' home looked like a medical lab with no silverware. Crooks' parents are both in professions involving therapy. Crooks' father reported his adult son was missing only after a few hours the day of the shooting. The FBI released the body to the family, and the family quickly cremated the body. Crooks' parents now hire a powerful criminal attorney, and there's foreign email accounts. Smelling kind of sus. And he's got about a 30-second video here.
700 messages sent on social media, but a source says to the Post that it's possible they weren't written by Crooks, maybe by an older family member. Quote, some of the comments were years old. They didn't think the language matched what would be expected from a 15 or 16-year-old. So there was some discussion over whether it could have been his dad or a shared account. Just like with the JFK assassination, the intel agencies are going to try to hide the full story from us.
Yeah,
they also found.
Yeah, they're going to hide it. They're not going to give us the full story or anything. All right, this is from Alex Jones, breaking exclusively. Released social media footprint of Trump's would-be assassin Thomas Crooks revealed he was radicalized into a violent hyper-leftist years after voicing support for Trump online. This intel also indicates a cover-up by the FBI after they claimed there was no digital footprint for Crooks. Renowned journalist Brianna Morello's sources say the FBI was given every opportunity to use the information, but did nothing. So this one's a bit lengthy. I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole thing or not. It is 20 minutes in length. Also, I'm not sure if there's a question of copyright or whatever. Plus, this is Alex Jones. This is YouTube, so not sure which. It could go either way. So anyway, I'll repost it just so I don't have to remember to do it later. And there's a link to my profile in the description below if you want to go straight there, or you could just go straight to Real Alex Jones and you can view it there. This was posted yesterday at 6:13 p.m. The entire interview.
Putting a lot about the social media footprint that wasn't supposed to exist, but somehow now does exist. Just so your audience knows, we actually received this information, the same information that Tucker's been given. We've got a little bit more, it looks like, so we're sifting through it. But this is what we've learned so far. Again, they told us there was nothing really out there, but we're finding a Snapchat, the emoji that he was using to do that. And then also we've got a well-outlined timeline of
it was deleted because it's like Snapchat,
and his
bro.
YouTube comments are very, very interesting. They go from he's obviously a Trump supporter, and they transition into someone who is going along with the COVID pandemic lies in the narrative. And then he goes out.
This is going to be blatantly racist, but I hope Trump has these people murdered. I hope a quick, painful death to all the deplorable immigrants and anti-Trump congresswomen who don't deserve anything this country has given them. So they're suggesting that the profile Thomas Crooks 19 was that the name of it, or Crooks 19 something like that.
After those who use the term deep.
And these are July 21st, 2019, July 20th, 2019.
And then he goes after anyone who is against mail-in ballots. And so he made quite
this
the
is a hyper leftist.
This went from someone who was
didn't appear
originally
so at the
against
beginning.
Ilhan Omar, the squad, threatening to
Right.
kill them,
In
to all of a
2019.
sudden, yes, a leftist. The transition itself doesn't make any sense, and you can't really tell as to why all of a sudden his political views shifted. If you just look at the timeline, though, it drastically changed right at the beginning of the pandemic, and that's when his views start to shift. He was very anti-immigration. He even said, issued death threats to those he viewed as socialist Jews, and then threatened to kill them. He threatens to kill Ilhan Omar and send her body back to Somalia. He also threatens to kill other members of the squad as well, illegal aliens,
Or whoever,
Hispanics.
remember we first heard with no evidence, oh, it might be a Trump supporter. Whoever was controlling the account was creating these
What they always
breadcrumbs.
say.
The issue here for me is that the FBI claimed there was none of this social history and testified to that pre-Trump and then now with Trump. To me, the issue is, how are they claiming that they had no information and now we know this was out there?
Yeah, just wonder.
In the last 48 hours, Thomas Massie releases the messages and letters. Whistleblower being targeted for exposing the pipe bomber, reportedly Capitol Police, now CIA. And major damage control there. Then you've got it being released. The FBI creates today or yesterday a rapid response account to respond to Tucker Carlson saying they're claiming there's no metadata on this guy, Thomas Crooks, the main shooter, patsy in the attempted assassination in Pennsylvania on July 13th, 2024. And then Brianna Morello, who is not just a great talk show host weekday mornings, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and not just a Pentagon reporter on her own side, she's got a lot of great sources. I've seen the information. She's getting the lawyer on for us. He can come on today. We don't have time. He can come on Monday. Who's gone through all this. Here's what she posted on X. And now the report's out. Incoming report. I've been provided with intel to review regarding Thomas Crooks and his social media. My source says the FBI was given every opportunity to use the information, but did nothing. I've reached out to the FBI for comment. We're going to get to it now. Here's the report. Intel report, Thomas Crooks alleged social media dump. And now we're seeing it come out. So they told us there was no history, no nothing. His house all scrubbed, no utensils, any of this. Both parents, behavioral psychologists, it gets weirder and weirder. And then now this is coming out. So
yeah, his parents didn't catch any red flags. I mean,
explain to us exactly what's happening.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me, of course. Well, we're learning a lot about the social media footprint that wasn't supposed to exist,
Well,
but
his parents
somehow
are
now
psychologists.
does
They were probably
exist.
lefties themselves.
Just so your audience knows, we actually received this information, the same information that Tucker's been given. We've got a little bit more, it looks like, so we're sifting through it. But this is what we've learned so far. Again, they told us there was nothing really out there, but we're finding a Snapchat, the emoji that he was using to do that. And then also we've got a well-outlined timeline of his YouTube comments. And his YouTube comments are very interesting. They
Tom
go
Crooks
from,
19.
he's obviously a Trump supporter, and then they transition into someone who is going along with the COVID pandemic lies in the narrative. And then he goes after those who use the term deep state, and then he goes after anyone who is against mail-in ballots. And so he made quite
so this
the
is a
interesting...
hyper-leftist.
This went from someone
flipped to
who
one,
was
which is extremely
originally
rare.
against Ilhan Omar, the squad, threatening to kill them, to all of a sudden, yes, a leftist. The transition itself doesn't make any sense, and you can't really tell as to why all of a sudden his political views shifted.
Right. One doesn't typically go from the right to the left.
If you just look at the timeline, though, it drastically changed right at the beginning of the pandemic, and that's when his views start to shift. He was very anti-immigration. He even said, issued death threats to those he viewed as socialist Jews, and then threatened to kill them. He threatens to kill Ilhan Omar and send her body back to Somalia. He also threatens to kill other members of the squad as well, illegal aliens,
Or whoever,
Hispanics.
remember we first heard with no evidence, oh, it might be a Trump supporter. Whoever was controlling the account was creating these breadcrumbs. The issue here for me is that the FBI claimed there was none of this social history and testified to that pre-Trump and then now with Trump. To me, the issue is, how are they claiming that they had no information and now we know this was out there?
Yeah, that's the concerning part, because YouTube took down his page on the 14th, so the day after the shooting. They took down his page, and they said it was due to violence. That was their reasoning behind taking down that page. So although the FBI answered to Tucker Carlson saying that, well, how do you know that this is all authentic and this is him? The reality is how do they know? I mean, they were the ones who have had this. Now, according to my source too, they tried their very best to give this over to the FBI, but the FBI wanted no part in this. They didn't even look into the information, is from what I'm being told. So, I've reached out to the FBI for comment. I did give them a hard deadline, though. They were supposed to respond back to me within 50 minutes ago, it looks like, so they haven't yet issued that response. I'm waiting to hear back from them as to why they didn't take this in when this was handed to them.
Well, sure, there's no doubt they already had it then, so that's not good. And then we've got Cash Patel and Bongino 8-9 months ago on Fox saying, Crooks acted alone, just trust us. We could all watch the other shot come over from a different and hit all the bags and clothes and hit people and all the witnesses. And the whole story wasn't true. So, I mean, wow. How did, to me, it's like, why is the FBI joining in on this now?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. And just to give some background too, I knew Dan Bongino before he went into his position, and he was someone who obviously went into this role with the best intentions. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Due to people I've spoken to over at the FBI, there's a lot of people around them trying to sandbag them, and so I can't tell if they are just being given bad information at this point, and it's just a bunch of people who are trying to discredit them publicly. So I'll give them that ounce of grace for right now, but they haven't really responded on this front. Last night they also took the time to begin the launch of their FBI Rapid Response Twitter accounts to go after those who do push back against them. So one could only assume that there's probably something there, that they're trying to just push that narrative that they currently have, but they don't respond when you request for comment on most of these instances. I mean, obviously, I told you before, I've asked them for responses on other previous topics, and you don't really get much in the way of substance back from them. And it's also important to note, too, I know Tucker outlined this, and we put it up over on independentnewsroom.com. That's where I allow anyone to view this information for free. You could go over there right now, because there's one of the YouTube comments by an individual whose username is Willie Tepps. And when you trace it back, I know the individual who handed this over to us also traced this back. It looks like it belongs to an individual who might be affiliated with an Antifa group, a foreign Antifa group.
Really?
It's the Nordic Resistance Movement. They are actually listed on the State Department's website as well as being a known terror organization. So they were communicating.
It might be one of the four that they designated as international terrorist organization.
At first, there were foreign connections. Now we're told by Bongino and Patel, no, look at nothing. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's obviously Discord chats that we're looking to see if we could get our hands on. Obviously, those are extremely hard to do. But that's where a lot of these individuals are taken offline and radicalized. So if there is something there, it's very likely that it wouldn't be on the comment section, obviously, but it would happen behind an encrypted. And I know you guys and Roger Stone just discussed it. It's not really encrypted, so the FBI likely has copies of all of these discussions.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But it'd be taking place on a private server that they think is encrypted, I guess I'd say. So again, we're looking for more. We've got way more information.
Well, it's encrypted.
I'm sifting through it because I just got all of this a couple of hours ago. So we're kind of going through it, running it through PI right now to figure out more information, all of this. But there's several social media pages that he had. And so.
And this gives major validity to what Tucker has been working on for months and just dropped with his documentary.
Yeah, so Tucker got this back in September. We just got this, and we're working on this also with an attorney who you're going to have on the show on Monday as well.
All right, this is a bad California AB 2847 moves on. Willie Tepes. Okay, I highly doubt a tow missile launcher isn't going to work because it's raining and the drones available to civilians aren't capable of killing you. And even if you are right and some of the military's weapons can be used in rain or snow, etc., how does that really matter? I can guarantee you aren't going to win a war by only fighting in bad weather. In my opinion, their only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building, set it off before anyone sees you, track down any important people, politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well. A large portion of the war will also be propaganda, information wars. Both sides will want people to join them, and a big deciding factor in wars is often which side has more popular support for them. But these are all just my speculations, and it's hard to know how a war will actually go.
So we're going to keep sifting through this, but there's a ton more. I mean, this is dozens and dozens of pages of social media accounts that allegedly belong to Crooks. And so we're going to continue to sift through all of this. But again, it creates more confusion, because how does someone go from being a Trump supporter, allegedly, from their YouTube comments, to then all of a sudden being a radical lefty who goes out there and tries to kill the president? Now, we do know that he was someone who publicly posted, and this is another great point, Alex, because he publicly posted death threats to elected officials. How does someone who's posting over the span of 2019 to 2021 multiple death threats to political officials all across the spectrum not get a call or a knock on their door from the FBI? It's really hard to think that not a single federal agency had this guy on their radar, even though it looks like, according to his YouTube account, he might have been communicating with somebody who was associated with a foreign Antifa organization who was on the State Department's radar potentially. So none of this seems to make sense.
And that's just like Kirk with 6 trannies saying he'll be dead tomorrow, celebrating the day it happened. See, I told you. And now we know. Cash Patel said, kill that investigation. I mean, this doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good for the FBI, unfortunately, right now. There's a lot going on that people are just scratching their heads and wondering, why is this happening right now? You know, obviously, many people within the Trump circle, his family, his son, Eric Trump, has not been happy with the investigation thus far. They still don't know any information. But it's very, very clear to us that these things, these social media posts, have intentionally been withheld from the public, so they can't understand
so they've been
what this guy was
caught
doing.
That's the big news. So where do you see this going now?
I think we're going to create a lot of pressure for the FBI to start releasing more information. You know, they don't like to verify these things. They make us put this out there first. And then
the
they have
FBI
to
often says,
forcefully
we don't
verify it,
release
of
any
course.
information during an
right
ongoing
now,
investigation.
I think there's going to be a lot of public pressure.
Kind of
I think the president's
catchphrase.
going to be really fired up and angry, probably get a call. Probably Cash Patel will be receiving a phone call probably relatively soon. And there will be questions asked. He needs to go out in front of the American people and make a comment, a public comment about this.
Well, and it makes me wonder if the post that I read at the beginning of this video may have been the FBI's comment. They didn't tag anybody in that initial post, even though it was posted yesterday.
Well, Trump, who's busy, just forgets. I've been told for the last admin, this one. He gets mad, he gets focused, but he's so busy, they just go, he'll forget. Let's just move on.
Well, I don't think he's going to forget, because he almost got hit in the head with the bullet. So I think this one's going to be a top priority for him, and I hope it is. Listen,
President Trump, he was hit in the head.
Here, because it looks like there might have been some radicalization done online, potentially by a Antifa organization. And again, we keep talking about this, and they host roundtables, but there's nothing being done to stop these radical left-wing groups that go out there and radicalize
frustrating.
Americans online and go after.
Yeah, like they did. They had that roundtable a couple of months ago, which I talked about on the Swamp, where they had Cash Patel. Obviously, Trump was there. Other members of the intel community. They even had investigative journalists that attended it, who had a deep knowledge on Antifa itself. So they were putting together a task force where they were going to go after Antifa, and perhaps they are. They might be investigating them. They might be ready to start moving in and start doing mass arrests and everything. But we're not, at least in the public eye, we're not seeing any movement on it. But I mean, I think that's kind of to be expected if they're doing this deep investigation where they're peeling back all the layers of the onion with regard to Antifa. And we could just out of nowhere just get this huge this huge bombshell where they just reveal an explosive amount of information where like hundreds, if not thousands of people have been arrested or indicted. And plus they're wanting to follow the money, and the money is going to lead them to probably NGOs and nonprofits and like the Soros types of people who are funneling who knows how many millions of dollars into Antifa networks. So I'm sure that's going to be a very thorough, very deep investigation. So doesn't exactly surprise me that they haven't been very loud with that. But I mean, they probably they held that task force with Trump in attendance, and the media was there. They were filming the whole thing. It's all out there for anybody to watch, just to show that they are putting together a task force to go after Antifa as a terrorist organization. And just the other day, they just labeled 4 Antifa networks as international terrorist organizations. So there is movement with regard to it. Not really anything conclusively going on as far as I know, at least not yet.
Those who are mentally ill. And then obviously we saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. So again, they just continue to create these so-called conspiracies that they like to say, oh, you don't know if this is true. Like they told Tucker, you don't know if this is true, this is authentic, but they won't actually put the information out there.
Well, the news media is radicalizing a lot of people too.
Crap, and then you have all the evidence
calling everybody like
true.
Nazis,
and
right
of course,
wingers.
it goes, we all saw it happen. He obviously
The
probably wasn't even
Gestapo,
sure.
the secret
You
police.
got all this forensics. It's crazy. maybe Cash and them are just total amateurs because, I mean, this, if I was a villain, I would do a better job at this. It's like they just do the worst job possible.
Yeah, and I know we have like
there
a couple
could be a
seconds,
lot of
but I wanna
FBI
go out there
actors
to
in
the
the background
Tucker,
trying to
did a
sabotage
good
it,
job
though,
at vetting
too.
this.
Be a lot of
Do 5 more
stonewalling
minutes. We got
happening behind the
Carl Serban,
scenes.
big FBI whistleblower, and all this coming up, but just do 5 more minutes.
All right. So I'll just leave it there. It's reposted if you want to watch the rest of that video. I'll just move on to the next thing. MJ Truth Ultra update. Thomas Crooks. Tucker Carlson reveals that Thomas Crooks had 2 foreign email accounts, one from Germany and one from Belgium. First, he discussed how he got this information. It started with his phone numbers listed in legal documents. This led to his primary email account and a dozen of other social media accounts. This led to 2 foreign email accounts, GMX and Malafins. He also had the following accounts: Snapchat, Venmo, Zelle, Discord, Quizlet, Chess, Google Play, Colossal Microwave, and PayPal, Rod Swanson. And got a couple of links here. Let's see, I suppose I'll repost this as well. Here, let's take a look at this. This is, of course, another clip from Tucker Carlson's mini documentary, which he just released yesterday.
In late September, we received a tip from a source. He told us he'd gained access to some of Thomas Crooks's accounts. He'd found these accounts by utilizing tools commonly used by private investigators. The key lead was Thomas Crooks's phone number. That was published in documents obtained by America First Legal. That phone number led our source to Thomas Crooks's primary email account, tmcrooks7@gmail.com. That in turn, he linked with more than a dozen other accounts. That list includes 2 foreign encrypted email accounts, AmericanGamer@gmx.com, a German website, and bcook@mailfence.com, a Belgian website. Crooks had a Snapchat, Tom_Crooks19, a Venmo account, Thomas-Crooks12, a PayPal account under the alias Rod Swanson, a Zelle registered as Thomas Crooks, as well as accounts on Discord, a Google Play account called Colossal Microwave, a Quizlet titled Thomas_Crooks, a chess.com with the same name, and 2 disabled Quora accounts under the handles Thomas Crooks8 and Thomas Crooks3. It turns out that Thomas Crooks was hardly an online ghost. He was active, and yet federal investigators lied and told us there was no trace of him online. Some of Crooks's accounts, like his Snapchat, appear to have been fully deactivated and completely taken out of use. Some of them may have been unused or cleared by federal officials during the investigation. We don't know because the FBI wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, it certainly appears that he was quite active online. Okay, and I think this might be the last. Yeah, so this is the last one. Jane Doe, Willie Tepes exposed, or is it Teeps Tepes? Anyway, Thomas Matthew Crooks, Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th, 2024, J13 Butler Farm Show. So
in August 2020,
also from Tucker Carlson's documentary.
Even further to the left, he said, quote, "I believe the outcome will be irrelevant." In response to the same video, Thomas Crooks issued what sounds a lot like a digital manifesto. Quote, "In my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people or politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush or surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well." These remarks were especially notable because they came at the final phase of Crooks's YouTube commenting. At that point, a new character emerged into the conversation, a user named Willie Tepes, who started pressuring Crooks to commit violence, for example, needed. Then authority obviously comes from the barrel of a gun. "We have more guns than they do. There is no way we can avoid a war at this point, so you better just get used to the idea. We have nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable. Nothing in life is simple, but that is no argument against doing it." So who is this Willie Tepes? Unfortunately, we don't know. The FBI hasn't made any mention of him in public, although they certainly know he exists. Just days after the shooting, somebody screenshotted Tepes' YouTube account page, despite the fact he had very few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa
also on
website.
Telegram.
Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the U.S. State Department. That's all we know. We do know, however, that Crooks' online footprint abruptly ends after his encounter with this mysterious figure, Willie Tepes. Regardless of whoever Willie Tepes is or was and what his motives may have been, who he may have been working for, there is no doubt that Crooks was ripe for recruitment by someone.
All right, yeah, there's
August 20.
Obviously, there's a lot we're not being told. There's a lot that's still going on, and we're probably not going to get all the answers anytime soon. But again, I will have that linked in the description below. The documentary from Tucker Carlson, Who is Thomas Crooks, and of course, all the information here on the screen. You can go to any of these profiles and view all of this information yourself. And yeah, so that will be all that I have for this episode. And if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It'll mean a lot to me if you subscribe, and I'll drop a new show every evening. Over the weekend, not going to be doing the swamp, but I just throw out just whatever videos that I feel like putting out. I just put out during the weekend. But the swamp happens Monday through Friday. Videos post at 11 p.m. Eastern at the latest. And it covers everyone. It covers everyone in the swamp. Politicians, bureaucrats, everything as far as that goes. And I also post daily episodes on X too, so you can comment over there also if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Hope you have a great weekend, and God bless America.